I am CouchCoop and we got a new Ant game trailer. This is very interesting. It's using Unreal 5. This is what I call a closer look. It's a video series. I don't know. Does that mean we're going to have to go into all the Ant games? E91 saw the release of Sim Ant, an interesting title available on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it was really a take on that SimCity game model. I just want to see this trailer in a minute, okay? We need to go through the history of the Ant-based real-time strategy game. I've got a few questions about this footage for this new Ant PlayStation 5 trailer. It doesn't have any UI or sort of workable mechanics on screen. This is all just what seems to be cutscenes, but we do have some actual gameplay at the end of the video. But again, there is no pointers, there's no cursor, and remember, this is going to have to be based on a pad as opposed to mouse and keyboard. It's called Empire of Ants. I haven't mentioned that yet. And would you believe this is based on a set of novels, which is to do with parallel storytelling against a family and an ant colony. The book's extremely popular in South Korea for some reason. I haven't read it, but I did want to just dig on the author. This isn't without substance. I'm just not too sure how that's going to fit into a real-time strategy ant murdering game. So we've got what looks like actual gameplay here, and I do get a Pikmin vibe. It looks like you might send in allocated troops and you're always a singular ant on pitch. I think that might be how it's going to work, is that you control a sort of icon that is maybe an invincible ant that can just look and maneuver troops or platoons around this sort of garden outside battlefield. Again, we should have seen some UI on that front, maybe a point and click system, so I'm a bit concerned about what real direction this game's going to go in, but dang, is it pretty.
Kill the babies! Kill the workers! Ah! Look at them leaping.
This is the Gaming Beaver, 3.9 million subscribers. How do I get my voice like that? Well, you need to have not smoked cigars for 10 years plus and not be in your mid-40s, mate. This is a game called Empires of the Undergrowth, and it's actually quite popular. You see a few YouTubers specialising in it. It's pretty deep. You go underground, you get to sort of incubate and increase your forces. You can see over there on the bottom left, you've got that typical RTS map system. So it's a super interesting game. I may step into this just to get a taste. Always sort of craved a decent insect-based RTS game. I think it's a really cool untapped area, and it also, with the ant thing, runs parallel with another franchise that you know I'm unhealthily obsessed with, and it is of course Aliens.
I've spotted a predator!
There's barely any voice acting at all, so I do find it kind of charming.
This is Mandalore Gaming talking about Aliens Extinction, which came out on Xbox and PlayStation 2. I never got to it. I was kind of gutted because this wasn't terrible. And talking of not terrible, this YouTuber I generally actually have some respect for. The man understands how PCs work, how graphics work, how putting a game together is done, and he's well worth looking at. If you've never gone near him, I will link in description. But my point being, it let you play as the aliens, and you had all these like incubation chambers, and you bred like face huggers in the egg sacs and then released them onto the Colonial Marines outpost, which was over on the other side of the map, and you could nip to first person view. It was quite an out there game. It really tried hard to mold the RTS and put it onto the console format.
This is noise. Terrible, terrible noise.
So we do get to look at some of the combat in a bit more detail. There's a slightly older showcase trailer which has got some cool insects in it that look like you have to use a few tactics, bit like boss fights, maybe sort of mid-tier bosses. One of them is a praying goddamn mantis. And again, there is such a focus on this individual ant, and I think that is definitely your main character and the way that you get involved in on the ground battlefield footage. There is no overhead or isometric views. I'm quite sort of split on this. I'm both in awe on how amazing it looks in Unreal Engine 5 and how beautiful some of this foliage and other insect detail is, but at the same time I'm very concerned that this might be an ant walking simulator. There's no way anyone would make a game with those credentials. Why on earth are we looking at Total War 3? This has got nothing to do with that ant game. Well, it's more of a preference for me. Top tip, by the way, for Total War. The higher ranked the player, the more outlandish the hat is that they're wearing. If you notice that, check out the height of some of these headpieces. Get to the point, mate. This could be a little bit like Total War with its sort of group mechanics, you know, grabbing hold of complete platoons and sort of getting them involved. But again, imagine playing Total War on a joypad. It would just not be a joy. They could do an absolutely crazy move and make it a little bit like the Wonderful 101 with a little group of ants being like the guys in this game, and having maybe the specials would be a little bit different. But you see what I'm getting at here? It could be quite an exciting format, and I don't know if that trailer is leaning in any of these directions because it's just so lacking in clues about what this game model is going to be all about. Do you think it's going to be any good? There's certainly a lot of interest around the recent trailer, and I wonder if they could get David Attenborough in before the inevitable. Don't say that, mate. Don't even jinx that. When that guy goes, I grew up with him. The Survivor series, it was one of my favourite things as a kid. He was and is the father of nature documentaries, so I'll leave that there. I am currently basking in the glory of my Mass Effect video. It's about to hit 200 views. That beaver guy's probably extremely concerned. I will be seeing you down there, and any feedback on what you've watched or this particular trailer is very welcome in the comments.